about that. Okay, so we're looking at page 1 in our grammar book for this class. And I'm just going to go through this page. Okay, I have another student coming in. Let me just say hi to him really quick. Hi, Silas. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, good. Can you turn on your screen for me? Your camera?
Sure, 1 second.
Okay. So it worked out for you to come at 11. I'm really glad because I haven't had a chance to call your mom. I've been in classes back to back. So hopefully this is a good time for you. Do you normally have class during this time in another class?
No, I don't think so. I think on maybe
Okay.
a different day, but why?
Okay. Well, if you can't get your camera going, it's okay. But
It's just like my camera is frozen. I can't see either of your guys' cameras either.
oh, weird. Are you on a laptop or a desktop or
Computer.
okay. You might not have a camera on your desktop.
I do.
Oh, you do. Okay. There's a little, and you're probably doing this, but there's a little icon at the bottom that shows the camera. There's options or you can select a different camera because sometimes it defaults to a certain one. Anyway, you can work on that, but you missed our introductions, but that's okay, Silas. We'll do that again. Maybe at the end of class or next time, we'll kind of reintroduce ourselves again. I'm just going to keep going. If you can't get your camera on, it's okay. Go ahead and just follow along with what I'm working on. And so right now I'm in the grammar book, which is Fix It Grammar. And I'm actually on page 1. That's where we're starting. And I was just explaining that I go through these instructions and then we do a practice page together. So basically the way this book is structured, it's one gigantic story. Okay. And then what we're doing is taking it little chunks at a time and looking at sentences and actually fixing the errors in the sentences. So that's why it's called Fix It Grammar. And we go through a little review right here, a little teaching time of what these parts of speech are, and then we go practice that. So basically, every word belongs to a word group, so part of speech. There are 8 parts of speech. We have noun, pronoun, verb, preposition, conjunction, adjective, adverb, and interjection. So those are the 8 parts of speech that we'll be going through. The first one we're going to talk about is a noun. You guys know the noun. We've had, I'm sure you guys are already almost in high school, so I'm sure you know what a noun is. But we're just going to review. It names a person, place, thing, or idea. There's also something called a compound noun, and it is 2 or more words combined to form a single noun. This includes proper nouns with 2 or more words, such as King Richard. So together, that's a proper noun, King Richard, that's his name. We also are going to talk about articles, article adjectives. The article adjectives are a, an, the. That's it, those 3. A noun follows an article adjective. Okay. Up here, over here on the side of your margin, these are quick little reference notes when you're doing your homework. If you forget something, you can always flip back to these Learn It pages right here to help you remember what we talked about in class. Okay. So over here, little quick notes, the definition of a noun, but then we've got ways to test the noun. So if you put the or the number 2 and then the noun, you'll know it's a noun. So for instance, cell phone, if I say the cell phone or 2 cell phones, yes, that makes sense. Cell phone is a noun because it's a thing. But what if I said furry? If I said the furry or 2 furry, that's not, it doesn't make sense unless I have another noun after it, but furry is an adjective. It's describing the noun. So if I say the furry as a full sentence, that's not going to make sense. So those are the two little sentences you can test to see if it's a noun. Okay. The other thing we're going to talk about today is the pronoun. A pronoun replaces a noun in order to avoid repetition. So it refers back to the same person or some person or a thing recently mentioned, and it takes the place of that person or thing. There are many types of pronouns. Personal pronouns take the place of a common and proper nouns. Review personal pronouns in Appendix 3, which is at the back of your book. Pronouns such as he, his, her, him, it. So whenever you're referring back to a person or animal that has male or female characteristics, then you have he, she, and her, him as pronouns. And then if you're referring back to an object, it would be it. That's the pronoun, because an object like desk isn't going to have male or female features. So those are the pronouns that we're going to be talking about in this class. And then preposition. A preposition starts a phrase that shows relationship between a noun or pronoun and another word in the sentence. A prepositional phrase always begins with a preposition and ends with a noun or pronoun. Write the preposition in appendix. Review the prepositions in Appendix 3. So there's more at the back of your book to review. We'll be going through that as we go through this book. Okay. Where it says mark it, this is what we do inside this book. By the way, you can write in this book. You're going to use an N above each noun. Use a single N for a common noun, a compound noun. And then write AR above each article and PR above each pronoun, and then underline each prepositional phrase. So this is how we're going to mark it in the book. So let's move on to the next page here. Couple more things to cover on page 2. Okay, and Davinia, I know your books didn't come in yet, so I'm sorry you're having to use another device, but once they come in, this will be easier for you to do. Capitalization. Capitalize the first word of the sentence, we already know that. Capitalize proper nouns, capitalize the personal pronoun I. Here's how you fix it. You're going to place 3 short lines below the letters that should be capitalized. So here's an example of a sentence that has errors. Robin lived in Sherwood Forest. He told his men, I will hunt with you. So the 3 lines under each of these indicates they should be capitalized. So that's how you're going to mark it in your book. And we'll practice that together. End mark is that exactly that, whatever end mark goes at the end of the sentence. If it's a statement, it's a period. If it's an exclamation or with emotion, then we use an exclamation point or mark, exclamation point. That's the word I was looking for. And then if it's a question, use a question mark. So these are the end marks that you would use. And basically you're just going to write them in. So here, did Robin give up? He would never quit. He was used to challenges. So here we've got adding a question mark, adding an exclamation point, and then adding a period here. Okay, and then indentation. Notice that some sentences are indented. An indented sentence means that the sentence begins a new paragraph. In fictions, in stories, there are 4 reasons to start a new paragraph. If you have a new speaker, a new topic, a new place, or a new time, that's when you use your indentation. And we'll be talking about this a lot as we go through this book. So now go on to page 3. This is where we are going to begin practicing. This is where I use a little plastic cover for my papers so that I can use an erasable marker on it and walk through this with you. The the first step in doing these pages, by the way, your homework is going to be 3 more pages just like this. So we're going to do this together in class, and then you do the same thing on different pages for your homework assignment. So the first thing we need to do is read the sentence. Do I have anyone that would volunteer to read this sentence out loud? It's okay if you don't feel like reading. I know everybody's kind of nervous right now. That's all right. I'll go ahead and read it this time, but sometimes I like to call on students so we can take turns. In the olden days of England, King Richard reigned over the land. The first thing you'll notice is reigned is bold. That's because that's the vocabulary word for this sentence. And underneath read it, you'll see it says one vocabulary. That is the vocabulary word. So you always want to make sure you understand what that word means. And in this sentence, it means ruled as a king or queen. That's what reigned means, ruled as a king or queen. So I'm going to put a little check mark. You do the same. Go ahead and put a check mark by vocabulary because we checked that we do know what reigned means. So we can go on to the next thing. Right here, it says mark it. And I see a chat. I'm just now noticing this. Oh, he left. Okay. Because his camera's not working. That's all right. Mark it means we're going to actually label these parts of speech. So here we have articles. Next to that, I want you go ahead and write this in your book. A, comma, an, comma, the. Go ahead and write that in on your page. Those are the 3 articles forever and ever and ever. No, there's not going to be any other surprise articles that come up. It's just a, an, and the. So those are going to be easy to identify. So the way we do this, here's the. We're going to put AR. We're labeling it. That's an article. Here's another one, the. Go ahead and write this in on your book as well. There's only 2 articles to mark, and we already marked 2 articles, so we're done with that. You can put a check mark right there, indicating that we did that. We're done with that. And now under market, we have nouns. This is how this book works. I'm kind of going slow today. Once we get used to this, it will go a little bit faster. But so we need to look for some nouns in this sentence. And I know that days is a noun, so I'm going to put an N above the word days. I know England is a noun. King Richard, we talked about, is a proper noun, both of those together. And then land. Right now, it's super easy. You'll see that once we get further into this book, it's going to get a little more complicated, but luckily for you, it starts out really easily. So these are straightforward, you know, nouns and articles, you're just labeling them. And then put a check mark there because we have 4 nouns. We already got those 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, a little more tricky is the prepositional phrases, and we'll talk more about those as we go. But the prepositional phrases begin with a preposition. And I know we'll talk about this more in depth the next week when we have more time. I know the word in is a preposition. And anytime you have a prepositional phrase, you mark it all the way through to the noun. So I want you to underline in the olden days, right here. In the olden days, that is a prepositional phrase. Okay. I also know that of is a preposition and it ends with a noun. So I know of England is also a prepositional phrase. So these are 2 different ones, in the olden days and of England. Okay, so underline those. And then over is also a prepositional phrase. So you want to underline over the land. If you're not familiar with prepositional phrases, and I don't have my book with me because that, like I said, I think I told you, I'm actually in Oklahoma right now. My daughter had surgery and I'm here taking care of her. So I'm not at home with my book. But in the back of your book is a place where there's a list of prepositions back there. And that way, when you find the preposition, the phrase goes all the way to a noun, and that's how you know you have your phrase. Okay, so in the olden days of England and over the land, those are the three prepositional phrases there. All right, Silas is trying to come back in, so I'm going to let him in while we keep going. Fix it. Now, this is where you're actually going to change some things when you rewrite this. So fix it means you're looking for words that need a capital letter. So I'm going to ask Davinia, do you see a word in here that should be capitalized that's not capitalized yet?
England.
England, good, because that is a proper noun. That is the name of the country, England, right? So go ahead and put 3 lines under the E to indicate you need to capitalize that. How about Joey? What's another word that you see here that should be? Hey, Silas, there you are. Woohoo!
I did it.
Woohoo! Yes, I'm so glad. We're on page 3 in your grammar book if you want to try to just copy that down, what we have so far. Joey, yeah, what's another noun we need to capitalize here? Or word, I should say. What's another word we need?
I and N.
In, the I and N, yes, correct, because that's obviously the first word of the sentence, so we need that to be capitalized. And then Josh, what else do we need to capitalize? Or did he step away?
King Richard.
King Richard, thank you. Go ahead and keep your camera on if you can, just because it helps me to see that you're interacting with me on the camera. Okay, so 3 lines indicates a capital. So we got them all. There's 4. We got all those. And the end mark is just a period. So add a period there. Check for that. Now, when you're doing this as your homework, and since we're running low on time, I'm not going to take the time for you to do this right now, but basically you would copy the sentence down here, and it seems redundant. I'm not going to copy the whole thing, but that is locking it into your brain. So I do want you to copy the sentence later after class for part of your homework, just to make sure you lock those things in your brain. So when you get to England, you're going to make sure to use a capital when you're writing it correctly right here. So it says rewrite it. You're rewriting the sentence with the corrections. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. And then you'll be doing pages 4, 5, and 6 for your homework for next week. And after you finish doing this part up above, then I'm going to send you the answer key just so you can have the answers with you to make sure you're on track with your answers. But I want you to try to do them by yourself first. Then use the answer key to check your work. Don't use the answer key to just do it, because that would be cheating, okay? You're going to just do the work and then check it. Make sure you got it correct. Rewrite it down here and then take a picture with your phone or scan it on your computer. And then that's where you're going to upload it from Google. And if you need help with that, just have your parents reach out to me and I can help with how to do that. That's how you turn in your homework. Okay. I know you're just tuning in, Silas, but I did record this. If you want to go back and watch it, I'll have it on the Google Classroom for you to be able to find. You guys need to, have you used Google Classroom before, Silas?
Yeah, for a lot of when I was in elementary school.
Perfect. So you know what to do. That's good. So you'll log into that and find my classwork assignment there, and then you can upload from there. So, okay. So for today, we're done with the grammar book. So go ahead and set that aside. Okay, and then I'm going to have you open up your binders now. And there's a few pages I'm going to have you take out of your binder. If you have your binder. You guys all have your binder? Okay, yes, thumbs up. I see that. Good. Okay, let me get this straightened out. Pages 9 and you'll see it at the front where all those pages are together. You're gonna take out this page, which is page 9. Open up the rings, take it out. Take out page 11, open up the rings, take that one out. And page 13. So you need those 3 pages and then take it out and close up the rings. This is what we're going to work with today. Page 9 and 11 and 13. Don't forget to close the rings because I have students that forget that and then they pick up their binder and then everything goes everywhere. So don't forget to close the rings. That's really, really important. Okay. This first page right here, let's look at that one first. This is an overview. It says right here at the top right. This is what you would be doing if you were doing this with your mom or whoever your homeschool teacher is, and how you would be working through the program with the videos. That's why it's saying watch part 1, video 1. So you really don't need this. I just wanted you to see it's in here and it's for every story. You're going to find one of these. You don't really need it, but I don't want you to throw it away because somebody might need to use this binder again later. So just set this one aside. This is just if you were doing this at home with your parent. So we're going to set that aside. And then I want you to get out this story, which I know you already took out, but look at this one next. And it says page 11 at the bottom. This is the blue ringed octopus. So every week we have a story that we're going to focus on, and then we're going to work with that story. We're learning how to create outlines first, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But this story is the first one we're going to read, and we're going to take this kind of slow because I know this is kind of new for you guys, this whole process. So by the way, when we're done with class today, these 3 pages that you took out of the binder, you're going to put back in the rings at the very front of your binder, even in front of that little picture of the, I think it's a boy for level 2. I'm pretty sure it is. At the very, very, very front of your binder is where I want you to keep it for now after class, so you don't lose it. Okay, so don't separate this from your binder. You need to have it when you go to do your homework, you know where it's at, the very, very front. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is just read this story, and then we're going to talk about key words. This is super important for this program to learn how to identify key words in a sentence. We'll start with that, and then we're going to grow from there. But that's all you need to know for now is finding key words in the sentences. So I'm going to read this. We're going to talk about a few vocabulary words as we go. You guys can just follow along on your page as I read. Like others of its order, the blue-ringed octopus has 8 arms, 2 eyes, and a beak-like mouth that can cut through a wetsuit. It feeds on shrimp, crabs, and small fish. It is comparable in size to a golf ball, and each arm measures about 2 inches from tip to body. The blue-ringed octopus can be found on the sandy ocean bottoms and in the coral reefs of Australia, New Guinea, Indonesia, the Philippines, and Japan. It is hard to spot as it uses camouflage for self-defense. To say stay away, it changes color from brown to bright yellow and blue rings with blue rings. Its beautiful, unusual coloring makes it a must-find creature for many underwater photographers. While all octopuses are venomous, sometimes we use the word octopi. I don't know if you've heard that one, but in this article, they say octopuses are venomous. Only the blue-ringed octopus is deadly to humans. At first, a bite might seem painless, but the powerful neurotoxic venom quickly causes numbness of the lips and tongue. This is followed by difficulty in breathing caused by paralysis and then a shutdown of the senses. Death can occur in minutes, and there is no known antidote. One small blue-ringed octopus carries enough venom to kill 26 adult humans in minutes. Okay, so interesting facts about an interesting creature. I don't know if you've heard of this guy before, but I would just be careful if you're in Australia, New Guinea, Indonesia, the Philippines, or Japan. I wouldn't go swimming in the ocean. That's my bit of advice to you. But fortunately in California, we do not have this octopus. So we have jellyfish and they do sting, but it's not the same. This guy is pretty dangerous. He could kill. So that's the cool thing about this binder. I really like the stories and passages that they put in here. Interesting stuff kind of like if you ever got on the show Jeopardy, you might be able to actually win some money because you would know information about this. So interesting facts about creatures and things in this binder. So anyway, back to this. Any questions so far about this or anything you want to say about the blue-ringed octopus? Interesting creature. For sure. Okay. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to set up an outline. See what time we got. Ooh, it's going to be kind of quick. So go ahead and get out a clean sheet of lined paper for me. Clean sheet of paper. There's a rule that I have on setting up your paper. I'm going to show you how to do that. Oops, sorry. I forget that my microphone's right there. So I always set a piece of paper there and it sounds weird. So, okay. When you get out a clean sheet of paper, always put your name up here at the upper left. I'm going to draw a line, but I want you to put your first and last name on your paper. This is a good habit anytime you do writing for my class. So Davinia, do you have any lined paper with you? Yeah, go ahead and do that. Okay, put your name there. And then underneath that, we'll put the date. January 17th, 2023. Let me see if I can, oops, no, I don't want to freeze. Okay. See if I can focus better. There we go. And then we're going to skip a line. And in the center, we're going to label this the name of the story or the article that we just read. So go ahead and label it the blue ringed octopus. And then right underneath that, I want you to put the key, just put keyword outline. This is the backbone of this curriculum. So we're going to review this a lot through these classes. So this first time through might be a little tricky to get used to, but I want you to just bear with me. And then the more we do this, the easier it'll get for you. Skip a line and let's go ahead and write Roman numeral 1 on the side here. We're going to make an outline. And you've probably heard of an outline before. I don't know if you've ever used one before, but an outline is basically taking a lot of information and condensing it down to a few words like notes. Okay, so we just read an article that had a lot of words and a lot of information, a lot of facts. And now we're going to narrow it down to just a few notes on what we learned from that article. So I'm going to have you set up this whole outline first, and I'm going to have you write 1 to 6 here. Like that. So we have Roman numeral 1 and then 1 to 6. Yeah. Okay. And I am going to have you, so we're going to write down the key words for each sentence in the story, in the article that we just read. So I'm going to have you make a little note. Go ahead and skip a couple lines down here. And I want you to write this note. 2 to 3 key words. Each line. And when I say each line, I mean each one of these is going to have only 2 to 3 key words. And then I want you to skip a line and put symbols, numbers, and abbreviations. And go ahead and write here are free. And when I say symbols, numbers, and abbreviations are free, that means we're not going to count them as a keyword. So you can only have 2 to 3 key words per line, but you can use symbols and numbers and abbreviations for free. I'll explain that as we go. So don't worry if you're not sure what that means. We'll get into this. And then my last note will say, put commas between words. That's all we needed for that one. Put commas between words. All right. So going back to the blue ringed octopus. Now, I'm going to tell you this first paragraph has 7 sentences. Okay, I've counted them. There's 7. For your Roman numeral 1, this represents paragraph 1. In fact, let's just put that in the side here, put paragraph 1. Well, that kind of looks like a weird one. Let's just put 1 like that. Paragraph 1. Okay, that's what this is. So each sentence has key words. For instance, if I look at this and I'm looking at the first sentence, it says, like others of its order, the blue-ringed octopus has 8 arms, 2 eyes, and a beak-like mouth that can cut through a wetsuit. So here's where it's going to get tricky for you, because you have to only choose 2 or 3 words. And there's a lot of good words in that sentence. So I want you to not use blue-ringed octopus as your words, because we already know that's the title of the story. So we don't need to use blue-ringed octopus as one of our key words. We can use, I'm going to choose beak-like, and I'm going to choose cut and wetsuit. Now, if you're reading that sentence and you go, well, I think 8 arms is more important to know, or 2 eyes, or, you know, another keyword that you see there in that sentence, that's fine. For now, we're going to copy the same sentence, the same words, just until you get used to this format, okay? But in that first sentence, I already know an octopus has 8 arms. We already know that. We already know it usually has 2 eyes. So these are the keywords I picked because they're a little different than what I already know about the blue-ringed octopus. Beak-like, cut, and wetsuit. So here's how it's going to look on my outline. Go back to that. And we're just going to write beak-like. Because it's hyphenated, I'm calling that one word, comma, cut, comma, wetsuit. Beak-like, cut, and wetsuit. Okay. Because we're running out of time, here's what I'm going to do next. Let's see, yeah. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to change your homework assignment, okay? Because we didn't get as far as I wanted to in this lesson. So let's just stop right here for a second. And I want you to put this outline and those pages you took out of your binder. I want you to put all of those pages now in the front, the very front, like here's the cover of the binder and it goes right on top of that picture. I want you to open the rings and stick it in there so that you know where it's at for next week when we open up our binder again. And what I'm going to do this will make more sense. Don't worry. If you're confused, don't worry. It's going to make more sense. I promise. For your homework, I just want you guys to get connected to Google Classroom because I noticed that you're not in there yet. And I want you to get connected to Remind, and I will email your parents about that. By the way, let me ask you this. Hold on, let me pull this back up. Do you guys, I think I asked you in the beginning, give me a physical thumbs up or a virtual thumbs up. Do you have your own Gmail account? Do you have your own Gmail? I see Josh. I see Silas. Okay, Joey. Okay, good. Everybody's got their own Gmail. Can you please put your Gmail in the chat? Go ahead and click on chat.
You can do private messages just to Mrs. C, by the way.
Yeah, if you don't
If you don't want other
other-
people.
Yeah, good point. Thank you, Silas. If you're okay sharing it with everybody, it's up to you. Okay, let me write these down. Okay, good. These are the emails that you should log into Google Classroom with. I will send you an invitation to Google Classrooms. So I see that Josh, yours is 207 and Joey, yours is just 07. Is that correct? Okay. Pruitt's 207 is Josh. Okay. Silas. Okay.
Yes.
I'm just writing down yours at gmail.com. So I will send you an invitation to the Google Classroom. And so for your homework, it's going to be super light this first week. I just want you guys to get connected to Google Classroom and Remind. And Remind is actually your cell. Do you guys all have a cell phone? Everybody's got-
I do not, thankfully.
Okay, I don't blame you. There's plenty of time to get a cell phone in your life. I like that you said thankfully. At Gmail. But we'll make sure your parents are logged in if you don't have your own cell phone. If you do have your own cell phone number, please put it in the chat. You can put it privately just to me if you want. If you do not have a cell phone, that is awesome. Okay, I see Joey's. Just gonna write these down real quick. And then Josh. Okay, so I'll connect you guys to Remind. And Davinia, you don't have a cell phone? That's okay. So I'm gonna make sure your mom's connected or your dad or whoever's in charge of your homeschool learning to my Remind, so you guys can get those messages from me. You don't have to have a cell phone for this class. I'm just asking in case you do. And then that's it. I think I got everybody's stuff. So basically, easy peasy cheesy. You just got your grammar to do this week for next week's homework assignment. Those 3 pages. So we did page 3 together. You're going to do page 4, 5, and 6 as your homework. And then make sure to get into Google Classroom and make sure to your parents or you or both gets on Remind. And then we'll do this all over again next week. Same time, same place, same link. And we'll get through this. I know the first class is a little much to take in, so don't worry if you're feeling a little like confused. It'll get easier, I promise you that. Do you guys have any questions before we go? So same time. I'm in Oklahoma right now. I think I told you that. I know it's 12 o'clock California time, 2 o'clock my time right now in Oklahoma. And there's your doggy. How cute. I love dogs. Oh my gosh. So same time, 11 o'clock Tuesday. Is that going to work for you, Silas? 11 o'clock on Tuesdays? Okay, good. Phew. We'll see you guys again next Tuesday at 11 o'clock. Okay. So that's it for today. I'll let you go. Don't forget your grammar homework and then making sure to log in on Google Classroom, and we'll see you next time.